So this is our breakfast today for July the 31st, 2018. It's my second breakfast because I've already had my growth juice. And these are confetti, kale fetti eggs that I made. And they're vegan. And so my whole meal this morning is vegan. And James's is not because he's having garlic toast and that has butter. And he's having some kale fetti eggs also. So, but those ones are just made with the orange lentils. Back inside, guys. Opie, come. Back inside. Move it. Move it. Come on.
Get inside.
Back inside. Go, 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 go. Oh, they get so excited. Anyway. Oh, did I have that on? Oh yeah, it's going. Anyway, so James is having some cauliflower juice. I already had some this morning. And pineapple for dessert. So we'll see how this goes. I'm having tomato salad with sumac and mint from my garden, red onions, garlic, and lemon juice, and a little bit of EV oil. I love this salad, but I guess mint doesn't love James, or James doesn't love mint, something like that. Or else I'm sure he'd love it too.
Well, I never liked mint that much, but it's bad for GERD if you're like chocolate.
So we watch Man in an Orange Shirt yesterday, and I didn't expect to enjoy it, but I did. These two, either they're really boyfriends or they're very good actors because they seemed convincingly in love. The two at the bottom did. So the first part of the show was far better than the second. The second wasn't worth watching, actually. James watched this one last night. My Cousin Rachel. And what did you think of that one?
I slept all the way through.
Oh.
Well, it's not the fault of it. I mean,
Okay.
I can't even remember you putting it on.
Okay. Yeah, well, it happens. James falls asleep a lot because of the chemo, probably, right?
No, it is.
I know, that one's like the worst one ever, right?
Well, it's so
It's
big.
pretty bad.
It's like 3 glasses.
Well, you didn't have to drink it all if you didn't really want to. I could have just put the lid back on it. So how I've made these kale fetti eggs is with barley to stick it together. And they're quite delicious. I cooked the barley with some of my cherry wine. And I was talking to a woman the other day because she was buying some wine supplies or pricing them out. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Anyway, she was there, and I was telling her I just cook with the wine I make. And she was like, but then the alcohol cooks off. And I'm like, yep. And she just couldn't understand why I would want to cook off the alcohol. It was beyond her belief. For a long time, I wasn't making wine because I wasn't drinking alcohol. But then I realized, it's hard to consume that much fruit. When fruit is ready for harvest, there's a lot of it all at once. And it's hard even to package enough of it, like store it in the freezer or whatever. And then you think, okay, well, I could make jams, but then there's the sugar. I don't want the sugar. So you're thinking of different ways to preserve this fruit, right? When you have this huge harvest that's all at once. And for me, it just made sense to start making wine again and cooking with it. It adds great flavor to soup, stews, this. Like I can even start cooking my beans for burgers in wine. And oh yum, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to do it if I were having to buy wine, because that would be ridiculously expensive. Like making, I can't remember how many grams it is in a little barley package. I think it's something like 450 grams or something. But cooking that barley, I use the equivalent of a bottle of wine. And that would be very expensive if I did that every day, right? But
Expensive if you did it one day. How much is a bottle of wine?
Cheap bottle, $20 maybe?
Yeah, so that's bigger.
So, but if you're making it yourself, well, that bottle of wine really costs you time. That's all. Space in your house, like, that you're probably not using anyway. Or it could even be a garage or whatever. So, as long as it's not going to get too cold or whatever. Anyway, so I do it in the basement where I hardly ever even notice they're down there. I just have to go down and make sure my, what are you thingy? Air thingy has water in it so that I don't get my wine contaminated with something, and it's fine. I made 4 carboys full of wine over the winter last year, and 4 out of 4 are great. So it's not that hard to make wine. You just start. I mean, I guess I have a lot of practice from the past when I used to make wine, but it's easy. And these kale fetty eggs are so versatile. You can make them with any kind of seasoning you want, really. But like these ones I made with kind of spanakopita-like seasoning. They'd be delicious even with the tomato sauce on them. So to eat them sort of like cabbage rolls. Only these are way healthier than cabbage rolls. Because I have the lentils going on here too, right? And well, normally people would make their cabbage rolls with white rice. And I'm making this with barley, so it's healthier too. And since I use kale pulp instead of kale, like it's it works way better because I don't have the moisture in the kale, so it works better to make things like nuggets with. And it doesn't have the strong, it's just a mild kind of kale flavor, so it's like a cabbagey sort of flavor. It's delicious. I've been making James's nuggety things is deep frying because it does taste better, and I know it does. But today I baked these because I managed to get the temperature in the house down to a reasonable, livable kind of temperature. So I thought, I'll make some garlic bread for James and I'll bake some of these up for myself. And the rest can just stay in the freezer bags until it cools off in the fall. Did you already eat breakfast this morning?
Yeah,
Aww.
So, well, I wanted to hit the car as soon as possible. Not that hungry. I just had some cereal. Not enough room for that cauliflower stuff.
Well, thank you for that.
So should I move